Welcome back to the Sometimes Daily Show. Today we're going to be discussing Activision Blizzard's decision to close a studio that has important ties to Blizzard's past. I'm Philip Edwards.
And I'm Michael Palmer. On Tuesday morning, the employees of Activision Blizzard's studio in Versailles, France, were informed the studio would be shutting down. This comes on the back of almost 2 years of uncertainty after, in 2018, ActiBliz decided to, in a cost-cutting measure, fire almost half of the 400 employees.
The original plan for the remaining staff was to move them to a new studio in London, but certain COVID-related things prevented that from happening. So, instead of funding the studio until they could move, they decided to just close the whole studio. In an interesting side note that I promise is in no way related, did you know that CEO of Activision Blizzard Bobby Kotick made more than $30 million last year? And he could have easily taken a pay cut and continued to fund a studio for another 3+ years without suffering any consequences. He is a multi-billionaire after all.
French law dictates that employees caught up in mass layoffs will have to be provided with considerable compensation packages. So at least ActiBliz will have to take care of the people it's screwing over, right? Well, there might be a small loophole for that. ActiBliz will probably offer most of the employees another position in a different studio. This would force the majority to relocate, which, as I'm sure you've guessed by now, will not be possible for many of them. I'm certain ActiBliz will use this as leverage in any upcoming civil suits. We wish all the best to the 200+ people who just got laid off because of ActiBliz's greed, and we're certain you'll bounce back and go on to do great things.
I really briefly want to discuss the historical significance of this studio. 7 years after the creation of Blizzard in 1991, they were acquired by Vivendi, a French media conglomerate. With the help of their new French studios, Blizzard went on to release StarCraft, Diablo 2 and World of Warcraft, all before Vivendi was swallowed whole by Activision in 2008. With the shuttering of their last studio in France, it feels like the last shreds of old great Blizzard have finally been lost.
Now, what does this mean for the rest of Blizzard? This French studio was responsible for all localization of ActiBliz's titles in Europe. That's a lot of work. Well, never fear. In what we hope is the most amount of corporate speak you will have to endure all year, a spokesman for ActiBliz's Santa Monica studio said, quote, "Over the past year, we've been exploring how we might best integrate our capabilities across the business, enabling us to better leverage talent, expertise, and scale as we adapt to the needs of a fast-paced, highly competitive, digitally focused industry." End quote. What that means in English is, yeah, we told the Santa Monica studio they're going to have to do all the work the French studio did, without any extra pay or overtime. Sucks to be them, really.
It's also weird to note that the spokesman for Santa Monica studio is an old British man. But that's going to be it for today. If you like the show, consider subscribing. If you've already subscribed, thank you for coming back and getting some more news. Also, remember to check back tomorrow for another news story, because if you don't, I'm going to find out where you live, sneak into your house, and kiss you on the forehead. And with how ugly I am, that will class as bioterrorism. Then you'll know you should be watching the Sometimes Daily Show. So, see you tomorrow.